A funny thing happened the other day. I went to go back and see how I did with my week two picks, and I'm looking at what I had typed up on the computer in terms of my picks, and I'm like, oh, I went 11-5. That wasn't too bad. I thought it was worse than that. But I said, no, let me wait a second. Let me double check. So when I sat there and watched my video with my week two picks, somehow I went 8-8. I changed three of my picks. I originally had picked Buffalo to beat Miami, and then for some reason changed it. I had originally picked St. Louis to beat Tampa Bay, and then for some unknown reason changed it. And then what was the other game? Ah, fuck, it doesn't even matter. So I should have went 11-5, but if it's not documented, it didn't happen. What is documented? That for the second straight week, I went 8-8. I'm not great. I don't totally suck. Right in the middle, even Steven. Got to do better with week number 3. You would hope. You would hope. All right, so let's get to it. My picks for week number 3 of the 2014 NFL season. Let's get off of this 8-8 schneid, shall we? I'm sure most of you have got to be doing better than I am at this point in time, but again, it's still early in the season. The Thursday night matchup, Tampa Bay against Atlanta. And Tampa Bay's defense has been solid, but not great. Really haven't done much in terms of forcing turnovers. They've lost some pass rushers, so their pass rush isn't all that much. In terms of Atlanta, their defense is still doo doo. And I'm not sure about their offense in terms of it having the balance that it needs, but it might not need the balance against the Buccaneers on Thursday night. So I'll play it safe. I'll take the Falcons to win at home on Thursday night. Now we go to the Sunday matchups. And how ironic is it? Nobody, I think, could have predicted this, that one of the marquee matchups in week 3 is San Diego traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. If you saw this coming, then you are a genius. So you got the 1-1 Chargers, fresh off of a victory over the Seahawks, taking on the surprising 2-0 Buffalo Bills. And looking at this matchup, the Bills are playing a good style of football, but the one area where they're kind of vulnerable on defense actually is through the air, which is where the San Diego Chargers are prepared to take advantage of the Buffalo Bills. And with all things being equal, I think, frankly, the Chargers are a better football team with the better quarterback, so I'll take them to win against the Bills on Sunday. I'll take Cincinnati over Tennessee. I think Cincinnati is one of the best teams in the NFL that absolutely nobody is talking about. And I think week 2 showed more of the flaws of the Titans than obviously week 1 did. I'll take Baltimore over Cleveland, even though Cleveland's offense hasn't been all that bad the first 2 weeks. Their defense has been pretty bad. And I like what I saw out of the Ravens in week 2 against the Steelers, even though the Steelers aren't all that good, frankly. I'll take the Baltimore Ravens to win there. I will take the Lions over the Packers in a matchup of one-on-one teams. The Lions looked impressive on Monday night, week 1 against the Giants, and then in week 2, they played more like the old Lions did, undisciplined, turning the ball over, shooting themselves in the foot, and they kind of got dominated by the Panthers. But looking at this matchup, the Packers have not looked that impressive to start the season. Sure, they managed to find a way to beat the Jets in week 2, but they were down early. Their defense was getting shredded. Their offense didn't have a rhythm. And in some ways, I could argue it's maybe more so the Jets imploding than the Packers really getting it together as to why the Packers aren't 0-2 and they're 1-1 instead. So I'll take the Lions at home. I'll take Dallas over the Rams. I'll take New England over Oakland in my lock of the week. My other lock of the week is going to be New Orleans over Minnesota. I can't believe Minnesota is going to sit there and continue to start Matt Castle. The Saints are 0-2. I just can't envision a path where they go 0-3 here. What you saw to the Vikings in week number 2, I think, is more of what you're going to see from them until they decide to start Teddy Bridgewater. I'll take the 2-0 Texans to continue their winning ways on the road against the Giants. I'll take Washington in my upset pick of the week to beat Philadelphia. I'm sure this is probably going to be one that I regret, but I'm looking at the elements of Deshaun Jackson, if he's healthy and can play, going back to play against his old team. The Eagles, the first 2 weeks, have dug themselves big holes in each of those first 2 games, being down by 17 points at half in each before finding a way to come back and win. And maybe it's one of those things of addition by subtraction where they flat out, the Redskins play better with Kirk Cousins. And that defense of the Redskins, while they haven't played the best offenses the first 2 weeks, has looked pretty impressive and really showed an ability to be able to generate a pass rush. I'll take the Colts over the Jags in another lock of the week. San Francisco versus Arizona, a matchup of marquee teams in the NFC West. It's funny, before the season, I said that the Cardinals would go like 6-10 in part because I wasn't confident that Carson Palmer would be healthy the whole season. Once that happened, what was going to happen behind it? Well, it only took a week. He missed week 2, but they found a way to win behind Drew Stanton, except they played the Giants, who are terrible. I think the 49ers will come back strong week number 3. Kaepernick's got something to prove. That 49ers defense has something to prove. You've got a physical kind of matchup, two great defenses or, perceived great defenses. But I think the 49ers have the better quarterback, even with as bad as Kaepernick looked in week 2. So I'll take the 49ers here in a bit of an upset. I'll take the Dolphins to beat the Chiefs. Then you get to Seattle and Denver in Seattle. And a lot of people will look at this game and say this will be a revenge game for Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos based off of what happened in Super Bowl 48. And you look at the matchup and say they're getting Wes Welker back. They've got all of their offensive pieces healthy. They're relatively healthy on defense. Looking at the Seahawks, they're smarting a little bit after that week 2 loss to the Chargers. But here's the deal. Seattle's defense, I don't think will be as good as it was last year. I just don't think it will be. But they still match up very well against the Denver Broncos. And the worst thing that could have happened to the Broncos here, frankly, is the fact that the Seahawks lost to the Chargers in week 2. The Seahawks are going to be ramped up. They're going to be amped up. They're going to want to make a statement here. They're going to want to establish their superiority over the Denver Broncos and remind everybody why they are the team to beat, why they are the defending Super Bowl champions. So I think the Broncos still have trouble defending Russell Wilson. They will have huge troubles defending Percy Harvin just like they did in the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Denver Broncos. In the Sunday night matchup, why in the hell is Denver and Seattle not either the Sunday night or Monday night game? Who made that decision? How stupid. Pittsburgh versus Carolina is your Sunday night game? Oh, God. Carolina's defense is better. Carolina is better. I will take Carolina. Then we get to the Monday night game. My Bears, 1-1. In a surprising fashion, where everybody might have thought they beat the Bills and lose to the 49ers, they decided to do it the exact opposite hard way, taking on the 1-1 Jets, who had a chance to actually start off the season 2-0 before shooting themselves in the foot in the second half against Green Bay. Looking at this matchup, I have to remove the homer part of myself and just instantly picking the Bears. There's problems here for the Bears in terms of offensively. The Bears didn't run the ball very well at all with Matt Forte in week 2 against the 49ers. In fact, Jay Cutler was the team's leading rusher. Forte averaged less than 2 yards a carry. It was like 21 yards on 12 carries. Now you're facing a Jets team that's even better against the run, which means that the Bears are going to be more likely than not very one-dimensional on offense in this game. Fortunately for the Bears, though, that one dimension is maybe their better dimension. That's the passing game. And the Jets secondary is complete and total boo-boo trash. D. Milner is awful. Calvin Pryor is a rookie that can be exploited. This is just not a good Jets secondary. Our pass rush is so-so. Bad secondary could mean big problems going up against a healthier Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey and Martellus Bennett and even Matt Forte in the passing game. When you look at this game from the defensive standpoint from the Bears, the Jets can run the ball a little bit with Johnson, Ivory, and Powell, so that will present a problem. Now the Bears are without Peanut Tillman the rest of the year. They still have old starters like Jared Allen and Lance Briggs, who, while they played better in week number 2, it's kind of foolish to expect them to play like that every single week at their age, especially considering their declining level of play. Eric Decker may play for the Jets, but how effective is he going to be? I don't know how well equipped the Jets are on offense to take advantage of the Bears' deficiencies on defense, except for the fact that they have a mobile quarterback. And the Bears traditionally in recent years have struggled against mobile quarterbacks, and to a degree have done so in 2014. They struggled with E.J. Manuel. They struggled in the first half with Colin Kaepernick before he started shooting himself in the foot. Geno Smith is another quarterback in that type of mold, and he could present a problem. But ultimately, even though the Bears are on the road here, I have to give them credit for finding a way to beat the 49ers, whereas last week the Jets found a way to implode against the Packers. I'll take the Bears to beat the Jets on Monday night. You are welcome, as always, to pick against me and keep track of it how you do versus how I do. I know I've been 8-8 the first 2 weeks, and damn it all, I'm determined to do better in week number 3.